Hello everyone, the Snowman here, back with part 7 of my 8-part FIFA World Cup preview series. Today it's all about the 4 nations of Group G. If you're interested, please check out my other group previews too. I've already done the other 6, and subscribe to the Snowman Sports Media for more soccer and football content. But Group G is a fun one. I want to look at how all 4 teams qualified for Qatar, their star players, the managers, and my expectations for each squad. As for the 4 countries in Group G, Brazil is the team to beat, the only nation to ever qualify and play in all 22 editions of the FIFA World Cup. There's some very worthy European opposition though. Both Serbia and Switzerland won their qualifying groups. And then we have Cameroon, the indomitable Lions, looking to recapture the magic of 1990. Let's kick things off with maybe the best national team in the world, Brazil. They've got the best odds to win the 2022 World Cup, and their South American qualifying campaign was about as perfect as you can get. 17 matches played and not a single defeat on the ledger. 40 goals scored, just 5 conceded. Brazil had a flawless 8 wins out of 8 matches at home. They started out with a 5-0 win against Bolivia and never looked back. So many aspects to be impressed with about the Brazilians. Neymar and Richarlison were the leading scorers in qualifying, but they're oozing with talent in every facet of the pitch. It's been 16 months and counting since their last defeat. That was to Argentina at the 21 Copa America. Brazil in complete cruise control at the moment. And for star player, they don't get much bigger and brighter than Neymar, who can pass Pele as Brazil's all-time leading scorer with just 3 more goals at this World Cup. He's still a world-class player, but I also want to highlight the 22-year-old forward, Vinicius Jr. The Real Madrid forward is absolutely electric with the ball at his feet, ascending up the ranks with lightning quickness and becoming one of the world's best over such a short period of time. Vinicius is lethal on the wing thanks to his elite foot speed, dribbling ability, pace, and shooting. He's both a hard-working and explosive player who's a nightmare to cover in space. Vinicius coming off a season where he helped Madrid win La Liga and scored the game-winning goal in the Champions League final against Liverpool. Tite is the manager of Brazil. He's been coaching them since 2016. In fact, only 3 other men have appeared in more matches as Brazil's manager: Carlos Alberto, Mario Zagallo, and Dunga. This will be the last tournament with Tite in charge, though, as he intends to step down after the World Cup in Qatar. The 61-year-old has only lost 5 matches out of 76 with Brazil, but he'll need to take his nation further than he did in 2018 to have any kind of positive legacy. And speaking of which, let's talk overall expectations for Brazil at the 2022 World Cup. They might have more pressure on them to win than any other country this winter, not just Group G, which they should win comfortably. Sure, it may get awkward for a second, but Brazil is more than capable of handling these 3 teams. They need to at least make the final, though. Honestly, it would still be disappointing for their fans to finish as runners-up. It's been a head-scratchingly disappointing run of World Cup results since Brazil won in 2002, constantly having the best team but underachieving. On paper, I believe they're by far the best team this year. The expectation once again is win a 6th World Cup title or bust. Now let's talk about Serbia. If you're looking for an exciting, fun, free-flowing team that scores a lot of goals and plays in some chaotic matches, Serbia might be a good bandwagon team for you to jump on this World Cup. The Serbs exhilarated their fans on a whirlwind roller coaster ride throughout qualifying. They scored in every game but also conceded in every game except one. Couldn't even keep a clean sheet in either game versus Azerbaijan. That didn't matter though. It all came down to one match in Lisbon against the Portuguese. They went down early, but eventually it was Alexander Mitrovic scoring the game winner with his head in the 90th minute. Ecstasy for Serbia as they top the group over Portugal and make the World Cup their 3rd as an independent nation. And let's stick with the forward, Alexander Mitrovic, for a second as our key player. Serbia may be lacking in depth defensively, but in the attacking third, Mitrovic and others lead an exciting front line. He's coming off a season for Fulham where he helped them get promoted back to the Premier League. Mitrovic with a stellar 43 league goals during that campaign. That's a record for the highest scoring English league season ever. And with 50 international goals, he's the all-time leading scorer for Serbia. Was also the top scorer of the UEFA Nations League back in 2019. Mitrovic isn't always flashy, but the man is a professional goal scorer. Managing Serbia is the highly skilled ex-midfielder Dragan Stojkovic, 5 years coaching in Japan and 5 years in China before taking the job with Serbia back in March 2021. He actually became the manager on his birthday and helped get them qualified for this World Cup with the aforementioned victory over Portugal. Stojkovic was a star for Yugoslavia at the 1990 and 98 World Cups, where they made the quarterfinals and round of 16 respectively. And Serbia will definitely be expecting to get out of Group G and make it to the knockout stage. I'd put them pretty even with Switzerland in the fight for second place. Let's remember, it was Brazil, Serbia, and Switzerland all in the same group back at 2018. That time it was the Brazilians and the Swiss advancing. I'm excited to watch this stacked offense of Serbia. Gone are the days of Kolarov and Ivanovic in defense, but alongside Mitrovic up front, Jovic, Vlahovic, Tadic, Milinkovic-Savic, it's a gluttony of attacking options. I predict they'll play some very exciting football, and if I had to pick right now, I'd say Serbia makes the round of 16, maybe the quarters if everything goes perfectly. That's their ceiling. Another European squad looking to make the knockout stage is Switzerland. They also finished in first within a qualifying group where they should have finished second on paper. Switzerland impressively undefeated throughout qualification, a couple of strong draws versus the defending European champs Italy, and it was all for the taking on the final match day in UEFA Group C. The Swiss and Italians both tied on 15 points, but Switzerland defeated Bulgaria 4-0 in their final game. Italy drew Northern Ireland. I'm actually pretty happy the World Cup is expanding to 48 teams in 4 years, because I think it's crazy a great team like Italy can go undefeated, lose just a single match in the playoff, and then be knocked out, while Asian or South American teams can lose 5, 6, 7 times and still make it. But nonetheless, Switzerland into their 5th straight World Cup. For key player, I'm giving you 2 for the price of 1, both familiar faces. First up is Xherdan Shaqiri, somehow only 31 years old. He's been going strong for Switzerland since 2010. He's played for some of the best clubs of all time: Bayern, Inter, Liverpool. Now he's in the MLS. Shaqiri has a knack for the spectacular. He can turn water into wine from the midfield, always liable to launch a screamer from downtown. Shaqiri's midfield mate Granit Xhaka has also been a regular for the Swiss for a decade plus. Xhaka having a stellar season with Arsenal this year, kind of an all-around midfielder who can do a little bit of everything, seems to be more of a leader now. I'm excited to watch this tandem back in action. 48-year-old Murat Yakin is the new boss of Switzerland. Vladimir Petkovic gone after 7 years in charge. Yakin, born in Basel but of Turkish descent, hired in August of 2021. And a fun fact about Yakin, since Northern Ireland drew Italy on the final match day of qualifying and helped Switzerland qualify, he sent Northern Ireland 9.3 kilograms of chocolate as a thank you, since they went 93 minutes without conceding a goal to Italy. He wrote out the thank you messages himself while blasting the song Sweet Caroline in the background. Those 9.3 kilos equal to over 20 pounds of chocolate. And for expectations, like I mentioned before, it's neck and neck between Switzerland and Serbia in terms of odds to advance out of the group. From 2014 to 2018, the Swiss had a real penchant for making the knockout stage, but losing in the round of 16. 3 straight major tournaments, but they took a huge step at the Euros last summer, knocking off France and making the quarters. They're confident they have tons of continuity, will be an extremely tough out. I see Switzerland as a knockout caliber team, but Group G is stacked. I do have Brazil and then Serbia slightly ahead of them. The final team in Group G is Cameroon. Maybe no nation had a more stressful or difficult path to the World Cup finals. Cameroon was placed in one of the tougher second round African groups with Ivory Coast. They lost early on to the Ivorians, but got some revenge on match day 6. Karl Toko Ekambi scoring the lone goal of that game to allow Cameroon to leapfrog Ivory Coast. That sent them into the 3rd round, where they were paired up against Algeria. Lost the first leg at home 1-0, but Eric Maxim Choupo-Moting scored in the 2nd leg. The two teams went to extra time. Algeria went ahead in the tie thanks to a goal in the 118th minute, and Cameroon answered back quickly. They pushed every single player up in the box, and a floated header fell to the feet of Toko Ekambi in the 124th minute. He calmly passed it into the net for the winner, and the celebration was anything but calm. Cameroon advanced 2-2 thanks to the away goals tiebreaker back to the World Cup. For key player, I've got another pair of stars. Hard not to mention the striker and captain Vincent Aboubakar. He's a legend for the Indomitable Lions, 30 years old, has played in 2 World Cups, also 3 African Cup of Nations, scored the game-winning goal in the final of the 2017 edition, and was the Golden Boot winner in 21. For Cameroon's other top player, that's the goalkeeper Andre Onana, plays for Inter Milan now, has a very high pedigree, many years for Ajax. Onana will likely have to make a litany of saves during the group stage if Cameroon has any chance to make it out. Rigobert Song is the manager, a true Cameroonian legend, having played a record 8 African Cup of Nations as a player, also played in 4 World Cups for Cameroon from 1994 to 2010. The ex-defender is the most capped player in the history of his country, and a not so fun fact about Song, he holds the distinction of being one of 2 players to receive a red card and be sent off in 2 different editions of the World Cup, 1994 and 98. The other player with 2 reds, the great Zinedine Zidane. And if I'm being honest, it's a super tough road for Cameroon to get out of this group. Their odds to do so are hovering around plus 350. Their odds to win Group G are about 14 to 1. It's just so tough being drawn with the prohibitive title favorite in Brazil and then 2 really talented second-tier European teams. Cameroon has lost 3 of their last 4 games. A couple more friendlies coming up in November, but I do not expect them to go beyond the group stage this winter. Thank you so much for watching my Group G preview. Please leave a comment. Let me know if you think anyone can dethrone Brazil in this group. What do you think the most fun storylines are going to be? Give me a thumbs up, please. Subscribe to the Snowman Sports Media for more soccer and football coverage. And thanks a lot. See you again soon. Cheers.